who's got the call tonight on TNT. Drive Guys coming to you from the Tahoe Blue Ridge, just outside of the Golden One Center. Nice enough to join us now. Boy, if you're a basketball fan, you subscribe to The Athletic, right? I mean, you have to.
Yes, I got an Athletic subscription, no doubt.
And who's at the top of your writers list, The Athletic? Who's right there at the top? Number one.
No offense to our next guest.
No.
Jason Jones just did a nice little write-up on me. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Jason
I'm
Jones
sorry,
just
Sam. I didn't see that coming.
Jason Jones just took care of your boy, man. He just did a nice write-up on me.
I tossed you a little softball there. Like, no, I don't want any part of it.
Right? I'm the bunny.
Sam Amick is here. The great Sam Amick.
Guy,
Long-time Kings writer.
I got Jason Jones' phone number. You want to call him?
No, that's my guy, man.
Aside, that story on you, Drapes, was fantastic.
Thank you, bro.
So,
Thank
health
you.
and happiness, brother.
Yes,
I
thank
the story was great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, boys. There should be a long list of athletic people that come before. We got the great David Aldridge.
Oh, yeah, DA.
Doing his thing. You know, we got the Warriors tonight, so we got Marcus Thompson. We got Anthony Slater.
You guys got a stacked roster, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We got a good thing going.
Yeah.
Is it weird? I'm going to reverse and take the host duties here. Is it strange for y'all to be doing Kings Warriors hype again, where it feels like game 8?
You know what? I'm over it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm trying to psych myself up. I'm trying to get hype. I'm trying to talk to trash, but it's like it's just we know this team too well. You know, it's hard to sink into a team when you can wake up and recite their entire roster, their stats.
Last season, it was
everything like that. And so I wish we were taking on the Phoenix Suns. I wish we were playing the Lakers right now. You know, I'm tired of seeing Draymond. You know, I'm just tired of it.
To me, it's just, because as you know, we talked about it. They hadn't even been in the playoffs the same year between 86 and 22. And then all of a sudden it's like back-to-back years. And last year was so exciting. It was just about a year ago. We were out here for game 1. And this year feels more like, there's a little more sense of anxiety because a loss tonight. And it just almost feels like the whole thing's going backwards, you know, Sam?
I hear you. I think for me with this Kings program, easier for me to say as a non-Kings fan. You got me?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, there we go.
Like, let's be real. If they win the game, let's say they win both playing games and they go ahead and they get in. Now, OKC changes things a little bit. You'd have a crack at the first round. But by and large, nobody is picking this team to win the championship. So call it a step backward or call it like part of the process. I think the Kings know what they need to do around here. They got to work on the roster. You know, they didn't make major upgrades back at the deadline. I think you could sit here and look at it, the season, from an optimistic standpoint and say you're talking 2 fewer wins than last year in a loaded West where, where if a couple of those games early on go differently, the point being like there's just a lot of teams, the Nuggets being one of them, where, you know, patience was the theme of last year's Denver championship. And if I was in that Kings front office and part of the Kings operation, you're looking at this year going, all right, it wasn't as fun of an ending as it was last year where you had the series and everything that came with it. But the plan is still on track, but there's work to be done, if that makes sense.
Sam, let me ask you this, because you've been around for a while. You've covered the team. You understand the fan base. Is what we've seen from the fan base just because of expectations being so high? Like the negativity this year surrounding this team, you mentioned it, 46 wins in a loaded West. A couple of years ago, we would have loved to have this kind of season. Do you think the expectations sort of change the way the fans respond to each game?
I think so, for sure. I think if I'm being real, like we use the term casuals a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that it's almost like a pejorative. I don't take it that way. People are busy. Sports are a distraction. Sports are entertainment. But I don't think a lot of people are slowing down to analyze the context, which always matters.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns last year were the 4th seed in the West with 45 wins. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Like from one year to the next, it's very easy to look at this Kings team and kind of shrug and say, all right, they were fun. They entertained us from October to late April. And that for me, because I've been here in the market for so long, that's the other part that I have been emphasizing a lot lately. Is like telling the locals, do not forget about the context. You win 16 years where you stop caring about games in January. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
You are sitting here. What is today? You know,
16th, April
16th, where Doco's going to be full. The arena's going to be full. there's going to be a lot of hype, and we'll see what happens. It's not what people might have envisioned, but last year, being a third seed, they were a very, very light third seed last year, and that part gets forgotten too.
Yeah.
Sam Amick from The Athletic with us. How big is tonight, in your opinion, for Domas?
I think it's big. It's just he is, unfortunately for him, become one of those guys that there is for sure a narrative that like postseason, you better show out and not be a guy different from what you were in the regular season. Tonight is so interesting because on the one hand, it's that same opponent that uncovered some of his weaknesses a year ago. On the other hand, the Warriors have changed a lot. Kevon Looney's not playing very much. Trace Jackson-Davis gets that job. It's going to be a different defensive matchup. I think they're going to certainly dare him to shoot. And, that's the part where with his game, and there's some pro athletes like this. Isn't it funny when you see a guy go through struggles that are very relatable, like being in Little League and you can't hit a curveball? You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like Domas when he's 12 feet out and he's got space and you can just see the body language. He just doesn't want to shoot it.
Right. You can see him looking for every other option.
And he worked on that. And I wrote about this earlier in the year when he and I had a good interview. He worked on that at length in the offseason.
Yes.
Really attacked it with Doug Christie, trying to get over this hurdle. And I think it's improved, but it's not where it needs to be.
Right.
And we might, we'll see how tonight looks.
Yeah. Let me give you guys some numbers on Domas, which is really interesting. Mid-range shots. His percentage of total field goals attempt that were actually mid-range. This season, 6.7% of his shots are mid-range shots. Last season, 8.1%. So he actually took more outside shots, mid-range, and three-pointers last season than he did this season. That's hard to believe. I just got those stats sent to me by Sport Radar. And so he worked on that. But as you know, Sam, it's one thing to work on it and then trust it in the game with Domas.
Especially when, to stick with the baseball analogy, like if you are just good at hitting the heater and you're a batter,
right?
Like you
want to sit on that.
When you're as strong as he is and you're as crafty down low, when you're just like, damn it, if I could just get within 4 feet, I can give you 17 pump fakes and I'm going to find the rim, and I can go left and I can go right. My footwork is good. That's his sweet spot. That's his comfort zone. Or I'm going to be the heliocentric distributor on the outside. It's that in-between space that he's not comfortable in.
Heliocentric. He's reminding us. I'm a writer, guys. You're on TV and radio. I am a writer.
I love that.
Sam, what do you see as the best path for the Kings towards victory tonight? Last time they played, the Warriors, Malik played, but he only had 4 points, and Harrison Barnes scored 39, and they had a lot of turnovers. They generated turnovers. What do you think is the best path? Is it just make all their threes tonight? Is it the possession game? What do they have to do, in your opinion, to have a chance?
I mean, stating the obvious, they got to shoot well. I saw the numbers earlier today about, the Warriors will give you threes. They don't give you much in the paint. And you got to shoot well. The supporting cast on this team, you obviously need a really good game out of Fox. You need Domas to do his thing, but it's the Barnes and Murray most of all, and Keegan in the wake of Malik Monk's injury, Keegan continuing to find himself from an aggressiveness standpoint and just being that guy. Because if we go big picture again, guys, this, like Keegan has got to be that third guy. He has to be, and if he's not, it's a major problem for this organization. These types of moments matter, and then that's the young guy, the old guy, HB. It's just, I mean, he's a pro. We know what his track record looks like. He's had a fantastic career. We also know how bad the ending was in the playoffs last year. And so it's funny. He's so low key and really polished that he never lets you think he is thinking about this stuff. But come on now, like the Warriors and the history.
And
the Draymond talk and all, it's
and you never let him, he never lets you see him sweat over it. But I got to imagine it's on his mind.
Yeah, no doubt. Switching gears, what can you tell us about Malik and just off season and, potential suitors for his services?
I think, based on the market, it really looks to me like it's going to be tough for them to hold on to him. They're capped in terms of what they can give them.
Yeah.
And you're talking about potentially, if you go high end on the market compared to where the Kings can top out at, which I think is 17, 18, something like that. Yeah. You might be talking about a $4 to $5 million gap per season.
Per year, yeah.
And so that's just not something where a player is going to walk away from that money. Now, today, I don't know if you guys had this sound, but at shoot around, he was asked about his future. and said he didn't want to let his mind go there. But the question was, has it crossed your mind that this could be your last game in a Kings uniform? And it's not like he pushed back and said, there's no way that's happening.
Right.
He basically said, like, I just don't want to think about it.
But we know he's thought about. I mean, he's only human, right?
Yeah. Orlando has got their eyes on him. Ironically, with the Warriors in town, I actually think, Malik and Clay are both on their list.
Right.
They've got like $60 million in cap room. And so for Kings fans, you should probably root for Clay to go to Orlando.
Right.
That'll fill that
take
slot.
another
There we go.
team out.
Sam, thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah,
Of course, guys.
Sam, he was here early. He was here for shoot around.
I
saw
know
him
this
earlier.
guy's been hanging out in
Yeah.
Doko.
Yeah,
all
and
day.
Carmichael Dave's drones are all over here, and they're reporting to Dave right now.
We're under a tent. Can't see me.
Hey, if you ever become a free agent, I'm just saying, if you ever become Malik Monk, we got a max offer here for you.
24 mil for
Right,
me?
we got a
Dave is
max
cat,
offer.
so we're not cat.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
Appreciate you, Sam.
Yeah, we
All right,
appreciate
man.
the great Sam Amick from The Athletic. Coming up, Brian Anderson has the call for TNT